66 seconds of goddamn logos. A brisk walker will always catch up to someone running for their life cliché. If he had shot him in the head, none of this would have happened. The fact that the movie thinks this many people would ever come to a public talk titled The Interpretation of Symbols. Professor of Religious Symbology is a title that doesn't exist at Harvard University or anywhere else in the world.
Symbols are a language that can help us understand our past.
Some symbols can be written together to represent words, and those collections of symbols can be combined with other collections to form sentences. So in other words, words are a language that can help us understand our past. Robert Langdon, Professor of Wingdingology. Professor Langdon felt the need to Ken Burns this photo, even though zooming out doesn't reveal anything that would lead these students to think this was a photo of anything but the KKK.
In English, please?
That's racist. How in the hell did this shot of Tom Hanks in front of a giant Nazi flag not ever become a meme? Our most beloved American actor in front of a symbol of racism and genocide? Jesus, I know I wasn't put on this earth to expose this imagery, but kind of feels like I was.
How do we write our own histories, personally or culturally?
The professor doesn't realize that he is auto-scrolling through the rest of his presentation.
Tonight, this will be our quest.
If you'll look under your chairs, you will each find an envelope. Now hiring too many extras for Overcrowded Bar Scene in Major Motion Picture. This mob of people is here to get the autograph of a symbols professor from Harvard, like he's Tom Hanks or something.
Considering your expertise and the markings on the body.
Clouseau over here shows Langdon a photo of a corpse while he's in the middle of a public book signing. That's not just bad police work, that's rude to the people who waited in line to show him their pictures of corpses.
I waited for over an hour.
He waited for over an hour. It was very nice of John Travolta to donate his favorite hairpiece to this production.
Mors imminens stimulus magnus est.
Discount, oh, what a lovely day. I have found that nudity almost always enhances religious experiences. I don't want to look at for 400, Alex, goddamn. This movie is a Catholic 50 Shades of Grey. Meow, father.
We didn't agree on much.
Frankly, I was surprised when he contacted me.
That's an awfully bad dub for a movie that cost $125 million.
Could we take the stairs?
Being afraid of elevators when you believe in an ancient biblical future prediction code.
Video surveillance in a museum this size is cost prohibitive.
Also ridiculous. Also, the Louvre has over 1,000 security officers. I don't teach at Harvard, but I do have Google. How and why do they pay that many officers without having money for cameras? Just fire some dudes. It's not rocket science.
The Grand Gallery. This is where you found the body.
One character's saying what the other characters in the scene already know. Narration's distant cousin. The filmmakers avoid clever character introductions by just simply having someone interview them.
What would you do if you had such limited time to send a message?
Oh, I don't know, recreate a famous Leonardo da Vinci sketch with my body and leave cryptic anagrams all over my place of work? What would you do?
In case you try to run, we have you on a little leash, Professor.
Well, hi there, movie. Enemy of the state much? Also, yep, you are watching a movie where a shady agency just bugged a symbols professor in the name of international security. GPS tracker that shows toilets.
It's quite a leap, isn't it?
Langdon sums up this entire movie.
Jacksonia was my grandfather. Apparently, it was his dying wish that we meet.
Because the old man had his fetishes just like the rest of us.
Je ne crois pas, il a sauté.
Instead of assuming Langdon found his tracker and threw it into the dump truck, he assumes that Langdon jumped out of the window and into the dump truck.
I will only take a moment.
Of course.
Even though they are running from the cops, Sophie decides to take a moment, and Langdon obliges.
He's much older than I remember.
Here's a fun fact. All people are currently older than the memories you have of them. This sentence literally applies to everyone. Also, these evil satanic Bible-based villains drew the star on this dude's chest right side up, instead of the more traditionally satanic upside down. Muted color flashback. A child runs. Things were apparently remembered or learned.
He phoned my office today, several times. He said it was a matter of life and death.
I ignored him, of course, because who believes that kind of horseshit?
This is wrong. Yeah, see? This is wrong. The Fibonacci numbers only make sense when they're in order.
What the f is happening right now?
An anagram.
I'm going to go ahead and give 10 sins to cover anyone saying something that the person they are talking to clearly already knows, when it's actually just being said to explain it to the viewer.
Qui en a laissé au musée? Le don?
France's FBI left one officer at a crime scene that also happens to be one of the world's most famous landmarks. Moving this painting didn't trigger an alarm. Did the museum turn off all the alarms during this investigation? Because without cameras, and I don't see those 1,000 security guards, that seems like an unwise idea. Madonna of the Rocks is not located in the same room as Mona Lisa. Also, it's more commonly known as Virgin of the Rocks, but Frog Kitchen Visor doesn't make for a very sexy anagram.
Da Vinci himself.
Da Vinci only refers to where he is from. It would be like people referring to me as of Nashville. Most historians call him Leonardo.
The fleur-de-lis is their crest.
They picked one of the most common symbols to signify their secret society, because the fleur-de-lis is also associated with French Catholics in general, and is on coats of arms, and city crests, and in architecture, and in paintings, and has royal associations, and is on the flag of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and boob pasties for Mardi Gras. This girl driving like Bourne, backwards, is laughable. Tom Hanks is the gender-swapped Franca Potente, aka Bourne's girlfriend.
You're not gonna make
Pure luck combined with a screenwriter who likes you. I think this flashback is literally footage from Taken. Julian Assange, Origins. No lie, this is a flashback of a guy reading a book. Ron Howard's finest work, y'all. An earthquake will now help a Bible Code secret agent escape jail, and no one in this movie will giggle about it. Also, Silas, played by Paul, escaping a prison after an earthquake. Do you not get it? This nun leaves the sacred room because a crazy albino dude in a Jedi robe basically begs her to.
We should be safe in this park for a few minutes.
A park filled with drug addicts in the middle of the night? Yeah, you should be fine.
Your police don't patrol this park.
Excellent observation, American dude, but also, why don't they? And if they don't, why are you here without backup? This guy totally ripped off his treasure map following maneuver from Indiana Jones. Nun watches Silas break the floor and doesn't ask him what he's doing, tell him to stop, or call the police.
Did it ever occur to you that could be dangerous?
No, and now we have a place to think.
You paid off a druggie and bought all his belongings just so you could use this picnic table as a place to think? What the f***'s wrong with the office, or the car, or a hotel bar, or motherfucking bathroom stall? Any and all of these options are better than wasting 50 euros on a needle, a candle, some drug and a goddamn picnic table. Jesus.
Puzzles, codes.
A treasure hunt.
Yep, this is the religious, non-fun national treasure you were all clamoring for. Nice going, America.
The Templars were all but exterminated.
Must not have been very good nights to begin with if 99% of them can be all bitch-killed in the same night, right?
The date was October 13th, 1307, a Friday.
Friday the 13th.
Also, fear of Friday the 13th didn't really begin until the early 20th century. Even though some of the actual Knights of Templar were arrested on this day, mainstream historians don't associate it with Friday the 13th superstition. Nun bashing. This prayer over a dead woman is intended to show that this guy is, even if misguided, still devout. Whatever, I'm not going to forget that he straight up murdered this nun, so your character development is in vain.
1976.
76, a year of independence.
1976 was a year of independence for Portugal. This movie, like its characters, sees what it wants to see.
Blood is being spilled.
Yeah, but you're spilling it. Also, that's wine you're spilling. I know you Catholics have trouble telling the difference sometimes.
A single wrong entry disables the system.
Because rich people don't make mistakes.
Funny. I don't even like history.
This is the historical, biblical, treasure hunting movie equivalent of I'm too old for this shit.
The rose was a symbol for the Holy Grail.
And also Charles Foster Kane's sled, and a popular modern college football game, and love, and that chick from Titanic, and a Poison song, and cop notices Rolex on armored car driver and is suspicious. That's a good cop. But then he's immediately dissuaded because that driver tries to sell him the watch for a cheap price on the spot, so he lets him go. That is a bad cop. Confessing your sins in the nude. Man, God knows what you're packing already. Give us a loincloth or something. Bad nun killing albino. Bad nun killing albino.
Are you a God-fearing man, Professor?
I was raised a Catholic.
Classic avoiding the question.
Cryptex. They're used to keep secrets.
Well, they're used to decipher codes. That's not as romantic a way of putting it as what you just said, but it's still way more accurate. You make it sound like a pensieve in Harry Potter, when it's really more like the glasses in National Treasure.
It's Da Vinci's design.
I'd know it anywhere, and within 1.5 seconds of seeing it.
I've never met a girl who knew that much about a cryptex.
That's because they don't exist. Not looking at the road while driving. Also, being a truck driver and not honking at the person coming straight toward you. This weird face massage goes on for some time. Instead of killing them and sparing us another 2 hours of this horse this asshole just leaves.
I do know a Grail historian, absolutely obsessed with priory myth.
Well, that's convenient.
Englishman, lives here in France.
Here, in the country you're in right now? That's fucking amazing.
So you want to keep our chest close to our cards, yes?
Hilarious. Though more hilarious when it was Sandra Bullock doing this bit in Demolition Man. But still, you rule, screenwriter. Language barriers are hysterical.
Was a lifelong pagan who was baptized on his deathbed.
I'm just going to toss about 12 more sins on this movie for all the liberties it takes with church history. One for each of the 12 disciples.
But a growing religious turmoil was gripping Rome. 3 centuries earlier, a young Jew named Jesus had come along.
You're saying Jesus' divinity came from a vote?
How else did you think the Bible was put together, lady? All the humans watch while it put itself together?
It's not semantics. You're interpreting facts to support your own conclusions.
Tom Hanks, Ian McKellen, and Audrey Tautou in Message Board the movie.
Facts for many Christians.
Putting the literal chessboard between them during this argument is a bit on the nose, Mr. Howard.
Considering both the Bible and standard Grail legends celebrate this moment as the definitive arrival of the Holy Grail.
The Bible contains no mention of the Holy Grail. I'm starting to severely doubt this man's credentials as a Grail historian.
You're saying the Holy Grail is a person, a woman?
Just go with it, ma'am, or we'll be here for 3 hours. Oh, wait. Oh, hey!
Scotoma, the mind sees what it chooses to see.
Scotoma refers to partial loss of vision. He might mean pareidolia, which refers to seeing patterns that aren't there, which is what he seems to be guilty of, besides not knowing anything about what he's been researching his whole life.
And these two figures change position.
I'm smelling some serious bullshit right here. We could change all of their positions to make the Last Supper look like the Last Orgy, but we don't because that would be fucking stupid. But I bet some of you are going to do it anyway, and I can't wait to see it.
Now, listen to this. It's from the Gospel according to Philip.
Alternative Sunday School, the movie.
The witch's hammer.
It instructed the clergy on how to locate, torture, and kill.
This movie's original title was literally 3 hours of exposition.
Inside the keystone, there'll be a map that will lead us to the Holy Grail.
I'm sorry, didn't you just spend like the last 20 minutes explaining the Grail was a person, a blood descendant of Christ? So how can a map in a keystone from centuries ago actually lead anyone to a living, breathing human being with the free will to go wherever he or she chooses?
Bum, 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 bum.
Apparently the riddle song is the theme for Harry Potter. I realize you're trying to evade the cops, but there's an argument to be made that using paved roads, even while possibly expected by the cops, is still a faster getaway option than these roller coaster woods you've chosen.
We are in the middle of a war, and one that has been going on forever.
Actually, 2,000 years, give or take a couple hundred.
What if the world discovers that the greatest story ever told is actually a lie?
Then the world will probably continue just as it is, because what was it?
The mind sees what it chooses to see.
Oh, that's right.
Each breath you take is a sin.
Modern scholars agree Jesus was likely on the cross for about 6 hours, twice the length of this movie. And without ever having been crucified, I can tell you without question this movie is much more excruciating even at half the time.
Your God doesn't forgive murderers.
Actually, he does. Sorry.
Once the sarcophagus is destroyed, DNA testing will be impossible. There is no way to prove a living bloodline.
There's also no way to prove whatever body in the sarcophagus is actually Mary Magdalene.
A guardian of the Holy Grail. It sounds so stupid.
Sophie would be excellent at CinemaSins.
I'm his marionette, Robert. Like a girl again, just with no gift at the end.
It's obvious Sophie is the descendant of Jesus this movie is searching for. I'm not sure why the movie tries to act like it could be anyone else, but for 3 hours, it sure does.
Vous savez que je suis parti l'Opus Dei? Oui.
He's still wearing the Opus Dei pin. Why does he think this is some sort of secret? Movie acts like they just pulled off some Ocean's 11 move when they just got out of the f***ing plane before the cop showed up. My, what a lovely fake-ass palace you have.
When he was a boy, young Robert fell into a well.
Just like Bruce Wayne and baby Jessica. Also, Robert has the same weaknesses as the aliens from Signs.
Built 1185, and modern London just sprang up right around it.
Does everyone have to explain everything all the time? It's like being followed by a personified Wikipedia, in that some information might be true, but there's no way to know for sure.
Those knights with their legs crossed means they'd been to the Holy Land.
Oh, I thought it meant they had to go to the bathroom.
You don't have a clear shot.
Yes, I do.
Dun dun dun! I'm totally surprised by that non-surprise Ron Howard has been hinting at every time this Remy dude has been on screen since the movie began. Shocked, I tell you. Wow, you got me, movie. Punching old people.
Sorry.
Deus Ex Machina. Like, maybe for real this time. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here. The nuns don't scatter. I love how Paul Bettany's albino assassin just casually wears a friar's robe everywhere he goes, like that won't arouse any weird looks or suspicion. This movie has about 14 surprise reveals too many.
A Pope. His first initial. How did I miss that?
Because the words a Pope make absolute and perfect sense on their own without deeper meaning or further interpretation.
This tracks.
Movie about ciphers and riddles gets overshadowed near the end by a Scooby-Doo-esque hey look footprints moment. You, sir, have been a ghost all movie.
Dark con can be exposed. Mankind can finally be set free.
There are over 1 billion Catholics in the world, which means about 6 billion people in the world aren't Catholic. In fact, about 2/3 of mankind isn't even Christian, so calm down.
A-P-P-L-E.
That spells asshole. Also, f***ing what movie? An apple is not a goddamn orb. An apple is a fruit, and even if you were to describe its shape, you would not use the word orb. You'd use the words vaguely roundish, with both a top and bottom butthole, wherein the bottom butthole is often surrounded by 4 knuckle peaks, and the top butthole almost universally has a stem growing out of it, but not a f***ing orb.
I think I've been here before.
Oh, really, obvious heir of Christ? Really? If this whole thing collapses and a flying saucer takes off from underneath, I swear to God I'm gonna lose my shit.
Son here didn't want you to help guard the secret of the Holy Grail. Sophie, you are the secret. You are the heir.
Surprise! Unless you're not stupid.
Welcome home, child.
We don't believe your ancestor Jesus was divine, but we do believe in treating you like you're divine, for some reason.
Maybe that junkie in the park will never touch a drug again.
Also, f***ing end!
Hides beneath the rose.
Are you f***ing kidding me with this bullshit right now? Holy this movie is nearly 3 hours long. Oh God, why?
gotta pay.
Old life blown away in the blink of an eye. Nothing left but all the time in the world to think about it.
Who's in the box? What's in the box?
You're in grave danger.
You said he was in danger. I said grave danger.
If you want to get a woman to fall in love with you, feed her poetry.
Remember,
No women, no kids.
There has been killing in his name.